Hey guys, I'm Anthony and welcome to my Life on Wheels. I've been back on my job now for just under 2 months, and I never told you guys why I went back to my old job. More importantly, I never told you guys why I went back on my old job at that precise time that I did go back, and I'm going to talk about it in this video. Uber requires their drivers with older model vehicles to get their vehicles inspected twice a year. I was about a month away from my vehicle having to be inspected again. So I thought that it would be a good idea to go ahead and get my van inspected, so if there was anything wrong with it and it cost a lot of money, I would at least have another month to continue working, gather up some money, and get it fixed if it was something that I did not have the money for at the time. So I took my van in on that Monday and I let them inspect it, and lo and behold, they came back out with two things. They said that one of my front headlights was out. Now I was puzzled about that because I started driving like 5:30 in the morning. It was dark outside, so I don't know how I did not notice that my front headlight was out. My second thought was, that's something that I can fix on my own, so that was no big deal. The second thing was something about a mountain thing. I don't even remember precisely what it was, but something to do with mounting something. And so the guy said to me, my worst case scenario is that it will cost me about $700. So I was really bummed out that day. I was going to go ahead and drive that day, but after that I did not feel like driving, so I kind of went back to my nephew's house, lay back down, and I got to thinking, okay, do I want to pay this $700 to get the vehicle fixed and continue to drive for Uber, or do I want to take this next month and really dive into looking for another job and doing something different? Uber was okay for the time being. It was a job that it was easy for me to get. It was quick. So when I came back to Baltimore, I got a job. So it was fine for the time being. I never intended for Uber to be a long-term permanent type of job. It was just, again, when I came back to Baltimore, it was a quick job to get. And that's what I did. I ended up doing it for 6 months though. I could have been back on my old job probably months before. Okay, so I said to myself, well, I think that I'm going to dive into looking for other jobs so that I can do something else other than Uber. I looked at this as an opportunity for me to get away from Uber, because there were so many days that I was out driving Uber and I was thinking to myself, I have to do something else. You know, this is not going to be it for me. Driving for Uber, I felt like I was out there hustling every day. And for one, I'm 51 years old. I shouldn't feel like I have to hustle for my money. You know, some people that might be okay with, but for me, it starts to get to me after a while. And I think it was starting to get to me. Yes, I would have some good days, and I felt like, okay, this Uber thing could work for me for a little longer. And then there were the days where I didn't do so well out there, and I thought, oh my gosh, I have to do something else. But I decided to go ahead and dive into looking for other jobs. I did have one lead because a co-worker of mine left shortly after I left the job, and he started working at one of our bread companies, Smith Bread Company, and I ran into him and he gave me the number there. So that was going to be my first plan of attack, to go there, put an application in, and see what happens there. But then I got to thinking some more. When I came back to Baltimore, the quickest job that I got was for Uber. So rather than diving into putting in all these applications and everything and getting all frustrated like I did when I was looking for a job in Atlanta, why not just go back to your old job? The quickest and easiest route would be to go back to your old job. So I knew that there were positions available because I kept in contact with some people there after I left. So using that same concept that I thought about Uber, the quickest job to get was Uber, I just decided that the quickest job to get was to go back to my old job. So I gave the supervisor a call. I left a message on his machine, told him, hey, it's Anthony, I'm back in town. I was wondering if you guys had any positions available. 2 days later, he gave me a call, and the rest is history. And that's why I went back to my old job the precise time that I did, because I had a choice of paying the $700 to continue driving for Uber, which is something that I knew I did not want to do long term, or just go back to my old job. Even though my old job frustrated the hell out of me, it was still a much better job than Uber. It made much more money than Uber. I didn't have to go out and hustle anymore for my money, not knowing whether I was going to make this much this week, this much that week. And it was a done deal. And it was sort of a no-brainer because I actually came back in Baltimore October of last year. I shouldn't have really worked for Uber 6 months. I should have decided to have gone back on my job maybe at least January of this year, and then I would have been back on my job for several months. But it's all good, and that's the real reason that, well, I'm saying the real reason, like I told you guys, a fake reason. But that's the reason why I went back to my old job at that precise time. My inspection for my van did not pass, so I had a choice of paying $700 to get it fixed and continue to drive for Uber, which is a job that I knew that I didn't want to do for the long haul, or just go back to my old job. So I went back to my old job. Okay guys, as always, I want to thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day to watch my videos. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you guys in another few days.
I think about all the time, think you may need all of mine. Hate to say, you know that love is blind. I'm about to see, I close my eyes, they can't see you.